Welcome to Anecdotes for Success with Matt and Paul. Storytelling is an art form, emphasizing the value and learning that is created through personal experience. Our purpose is to share these stories and experiences with the listener. Everyone has a powerful testimony. Let's use them to level up to our best life with truth, meaning, trade-offs, and perspective.
You know, we were just talking for 15, 20 minutes and we should have hit record like we always do. But I really look forward. I think we found our sweet spot with these morning podcasts
Yeah,
uh,
me too. Me
because
too.
because
Other
I
than
get all excited. I was excited to get up and I'll be super excited afterwards. And it just starts the day. I mean, nothing better than maybe working out in the morning, but this is the second best thing. Well, mentally, it's a workout.
Yeah, you can see why people like to. I've never been an early person. I always work late. Like I was up working till 10 o'clock last night because I'm productive. Not, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed it. I've always, but I have a 2-year-old now who was kicking me at, and pulling on me at, probably 6:30 this morning. So the earlier ones work for me now better than they ever have for that. But I'll tell you, what I do after when we get done is I work out. I have a little workout kind of gym area over here. I work out. So and then my day's like, you know, pretty
No,
cool.
I get it. So I want to start with an observation, and then we'll turn it into the topic for today. We're Steeler fans, right?
Mm, I have
They,
a Steelers sweatshirt on. You're
yeah,
right.
they didn't have the best game Sunday.
Nope.
I'm at the age now when I saw it was going south in the third quarter because it was a late night game. I just went to bed,
Go.
and I not that I lost faith in them. I mean, anything could happen in sports, but I've got to worry about my well-being too.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have happened in my younger years, so I'm not knocking people that stay up and yell at the TV. Uh, we're our tap house is a Bills backer tap house, and
Yeah.
our community is full of Bills fans. And
Huge.
there's so much to like about the Bills. I have no problem with them, you,
Me
you
either.
know.
Me either.
Uh, but man, they lost a game, and their two of their stars had some crucial mistakes, which happens in
Uh,
sports.
yep.
But
I watched it.
listening to my Steeler friends and going online and reading comments and listening to Bills fans, they all think they have the answer and they all know who should be fired and they all understand. And every time people argue with me, I'm like, do you realize the other team has professionals on it too?
Yeah. Well paid
I don't,
ones.
yeah, I don't care how bad you think an NFL team is. They're the best of the best. They'd smoke any college team. They would smoke.
Yeah.
And now buried in that is people do make mistakes. You can't have a perfect season. And so, I don't lecture them. I just start asking questions like that when they think they have all the answers. And uh I know as a coach, you just hope you learn from your ups and downs along the way.
Mm.
A Super Bowl isn't a steadily increasing curve right to the championship. It'd be all
Can't
screwy and
be.
woggly, and
Yeah.
no mathematician could figure out how someone gets to the Super Bowl, like statistically.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just comes down to certain points in learning. So my question through all this, because again, I wasn't always this stoic as a fan. Uh, why do people outside the arena think they have all the answers compared to the people in the arena? And this could be, I started with sports because I hear it from people too, and I'm a high school softball coach. But
Sure.
in business, you hear it in business, you hear it with talking heads on business shows, you hear it with stock experts, you hear it with podcast hosts. I mean, something we've never accused ourselves of is really knowing the answer. We just kind of dissect how people get to where they get. So, what's your thoughts on why do people outside the arena always feel and I don't think deep inside they think they know better. Well, I don't know. What are your thoughts
You,
on that?
you,
The inside versus outside the arena.
you hit a nerve with me on this. It's funny too, Paul, because maybe that's, sometimes that's a secret sauce to certain people who blow up on social media or as commentators or as whatever, because they're so sure that they have the answer and people gravitate towards that. They go, this person knows, or this person thinks they know, and it attracts a lot of attention. I've been doing this as long as I can remember. I'm it is I'm just the opposite, Paul. I go, and maybe it's because I've been involved in so many different types of businesses over the years. I always sit there and go, well, there's so many variables you would know. Like I'll look at a situation. I'm not talking sports. I'm talking business right now,
Right.
right? I'll look at a car dealership. That's the first thing that popped into my head, and I'll look at it, and someone will go, they should this, and they should that, and they should this, and they should that, right? Whatever. They should park the cars there, and they shouldn't put the prices on them, and they should, and I'll look at it and I'll go, okay, that car dealership's been there 30 years. They seem to be doing quite well. I see them selling cars over there. Maybe I even know the owner or something. I'm going that and the person who's generally telling me what this car dealership should has never run a business, has certainly never sold a car, and their confidence level that they know what's better for that business blows my mind. I've never been able to put myself in. Now, have I walked into a business and said they should? Like the menu board should be brighter. Yes, of course. Or certain types of just observations, but I'm not talking big picture type things. I mean, I used to run arenas in minor league sports teams for a living, right? That's full of you should haves. And you should you're having a great season and you lose a game that maybe you shouldn't have, whatever that means, because to your point, everyone's getting paid.
Right.
Everyone's there. This is not, my little league team versus the neighboring town little league teams who has, half the number of kids or whatever. And the number of people willing to say that they know what should or shouldn't be done with no real experience. I mean, it's the emotion of it, right, Paul? This is my team, and my team should always win because I'm emotionally invested in them, and therefore I have the answers. But I understand. Although I understand it, I have to hope that's not how most people live their lives, with very little information and absolute the willingness to decide what should or shouldn't happen with so little information.
Do you think there's a control aspect? Because, you know, I mean, you go to work, you come home, you have a family, like your life, there's so many things going on, but
Hmm.
you can make a statement that no one's really gonna argue back with,
Yeah.
or no one can prove that it's wrong, and you can lecture people about it, and you can have an answer to it. And again, it's part of being a fan. Fan is short for fanatic.
Yep.
But I think when I see it in the business world, it bothers me even more for sports. The number of times in just the 15 months we've opened this tap house, people come, walk through, great place. But you know what you should do? Well, are you going to come back? Then I'll listen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if
And
are you gonna, because whatever that is likely requires some sort of investment on your part, because I, of course, in that position myself, or time, or not that there can't be good ideas. Of course there
right,
can.
hun,
Of
I
course there
listen
can.
to them all.
Yeah,
Listen
yeah,
to
of
them
course
all.
there can. But the confidence in which these things are given, oftentimes with no investment of any kind on their end, is what makes me understand that they haven't probably thought it through either, because
Yeah,
they
I
have no
mean,
downside. There's no
no,
downside.
I had a great talk with the other day, talking me through some stuff for an expansion project, and the amount of ideas people had given us for this empty space we have is amazing.
Yeah.
But then I say, well, all right, you want to invest in it? Wow, I'm busy working all day. Well, so am I. I'm busy doing this, and that's why it's when you get into things, when you're in the arena, it's best when it's crunch time and you really want to take action. You take action from other people, you with other people in the arena. That's why there's
Yeah.
about 4 or 5 of you, including my wife. They're the people I talk to before I make a decision. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean I don't listen to everybody say, you know what I should do. But then
Yeah.
I talk to the people that have done it.
Yeah. So do I. right? That's
Yeah, yeah,
so do
you
I.
have people, I use
Yeah.
you as a and it just blows my mind. And there's different levels. I mean, all right,
Yes.
if you had a lemonade stand as a kid, it doesn't mean you can help me out. But
Right.
why didn't you grow that lemonade? So why didn't that lead to other businesses as you got older? And it's so I we live in a world, there's so much going on. I mean, sometimes I think every morning if as the day starts, if I'm gonna be busy today or productive. Because
Yes.
there's so much you just have to maintain sometimes. And I think that's everybody. And you can throw out a statement like that that's a great idea, but it's like throwing a pebble into the ocean. Like what momentum did it cost? Nothing.
No, there's and without some skin in the game, right? Oftentimes ideas are emotional, right? And they lack I always call it peeling the onion. Like there's just so many layers of everything, right? There's so much nuance. It's like people will come to me. I own some, I own real estate as well, and I have a commercial plaza that I'm thinking of, and people will come to me and go, you know what you should do with that? And I'll go, certain people I just listen, and certain people who maybe I know a little better, I go, well, how much would that cost? And they'll go, well, I don't know. Already, I'm like, you're on your heels. You just gave me an idea that I should do. Those were your words. And you don't even, does the cost matter? Of course. How much? And then, okay, I like do the lesson. I go, okay, well, what do you think it costs? And then we get into it. And oftentimes you get oh man, wow, I guess that would be expensive. Yeah, what do you think we could get for rent on that? And then, I don't know. Well, let me tell you what I'm getting in some of my other spaces, by the square foot. Okay, okay. Oh, so it's gonna cost that, and we're gonna get that in rent. Oh, well, you'd probably lose money then. Yep, yep. And it's like it's just again because I've been through it for years, Paul. Years of the what you should do's, and I do like to send people out with a little bit of a lesson of whatever you do, maybe you should. And look, Paul, I've you know what you should do, people as well, right? And I'm more careful with it now than ever. And I run numbers and I like those. I like those conversations and those thoughts, but I like them when you're peeling the onion, not when you're just drove by, glanced at something, and when you were vacationing in Myrtle Beach, you saw a bar or you went to a bar that was cool, and now a bar that has probably 600,000 people within a 12-mile radius. Now you're going to tell me what I should be doing with my tap house that is in a totally different marketplace, right? I mean,
Right.
I always, or I went to this bar on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon during football season or whatever, and it was packed. And it's like, yeah, go on a Tuesday night at 8 when they're still open and let me know how it's going. You know what I mean? Maybe it's
Right.
great, but maybe it's not. And
Right.
and that's peeling the onion in my world.
Now, I think that's fantastic. And again, not that I'm a big fan. A lot of people say, "Oh, hide yourself, work in silence for a couple months, stay humble, and then explode with all you've done." I'm the opposite because I like throwing everything I'm doing out there
Yeah.
with measurable action because that's how you get more good ideas and that's how you make more connections and that's how you have more investors, more mentors, etc. And I think if you're not in the arena, any arena,
Yeah, any arena, right? Any arena.
it's easy to criticize that.
Yeah.
But I'm it's like a shotgun blast out there into the universe to see what I hit that comes back to me. Maybe a boomerang would be better, but you get the point. Uh, if I just hold everything to myself, is no matter how hard I'm working, you can't do it all by yourself.
You can't do it all by yourself. You need people, and I'm with you. I've always been vocal about things I have going on, not in some braggadocious way. Number one, because it's not braggadocio. Like there's no need. Like I don't look at it like that. Like I'm what I'm doing is what I do, and it is to develop relationships and see what ideas and maybe potential investors, partners, just employees, the number of people have come to I've gotten ideas from who've done similar things, say, hey, I'm in this space. This is how we do it, or this arena, and this is how we do it, or this is what I've done to get those right. When you're working in silence, I get that, but I never I don't think it's more advantageous. My intent is never to hold my cards to my chest anyway so that I can burst out and tell everyone what I've done. That's not what I do. Like my desire isn't to burst out and tell everyone what I've done. My desire is just keep productively going and building and learning and achieving and failing and all those kinds of things. It's not for you. It's that my goal isn't to
Right.
impress Paul. It's to get things done, and by talking to people, you get a lot more done.
You don't ever break out of your comfort zones and grow if you're never talking to anybody new.
Yeah, right. And know what the thing you'll hear from people who've done it, whatever it is, who've been successful, is the stories of their discomfort and the stories of their growth and in that process. You will never not hear that. You will never, ever not hear that. That is always a deep part of the story. There's no one who's successful who doesn't have that. I mean, we were just talking about Tom Calasano right before we started recording. I
Yeah.
haven't looked up his story, but I already know what it is because it's the same story as everyone. His is exponentially more successful, but I
Right.
already know the steps in the process because I've never not seen that ever.
Isn't that amazing? So
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
mean,
look it up too when we're done here.
so my advice, when it comes to the arena and not the arena, I think when you're in the arena, you get less frustrated by daily results and you're looking more for long-term progress.
Mhm.
But when you're outside the arena, looking in as a fan of a business,
Yeah.
of a friend, of a team, you get frustrated because you're using hindsight. Like I watch a game and it goes wrong. Well, why didn't they do this? That's what
Yeah.
I would have done. Well, everything they did during that game they thought was going to work. See, that's problem one. And then the other team was trying to not have it work. That's
Yes.
problem two.
Yes.
It's actually, I think
Well,
it's easier in the business world because
it,
you can get your opponent to help you.
Paul, you nailed it exactly. Like there's two things. Number one is you're right. It's about control. As a fan, I have no control. I'm just there. I'm a spectator, and therefore I can just shout out opinions, and it doesn't matter. As a coach or a player, you have control, and therefore you have understanding in ways of why it did or didn't work. And you also know, well, there's another game next Sunday, and we're gonna learn from this and do better. As a fan, you just show up again and cross your fingers. But that's one point. The bigger point, though, is exactly what you were just saying. A game is zero sum. There will be a winner and there will be a loser,
Yep.
right? There's it's just a zero sum thing. I guess unless you want to call a tie, but I always think of a tie as a loss in sports anyway. So, it's zero sum. One team's going to win and one team's going to lose. There's 30 teams in the NFL now, 32, I forget,
I
30.
think 32.
How many Super Bowl champions are you going to get? We already know. One every year from the start to the end of time. And I mean that's how it works. That's why we want to watch. That's why we participate. It's zero sum. In our world, I can achieve my goals and my biggest competitor can achieve their goals as well. We don't they don't have to not achieve theirs at my expense and vice versa. Can we have some impact on each other? Of course.
Right.
But also to your point, my, the business across the street, who I may have some sort of competition with. Maybe it's parking, maybe it's the time of day we're busiest, maybe it's products we sell. We can win together in a variety. We can sit down and talk about all sorts of win-win. You're not gonna have Mike Tomlin and um Scott McDermott, the Steelers and the Bills coaches, sit down before they go head to head and talk about how they can both, get have a win-win situation in that football game. It's not how it works. So there's a win-win aspect to it. It's not zero sum, and that is a big, big difference.
I think we can wrap it up by saying just find others to win with.
Yeah, yeah. And I had this conversation with someone, a vendor of mine, just yesterday at a long call. And I said, look, you guys have to understand this is someone who's trying to sell me something. They're already a vendor of mine, but um, I have to renew for another year in a couple weeks. And we are having a Zoom, and I said to him, here's something I don't like with the offer you're making. I said, I just don't like what I don't like, Paul's contracts. I don't like when businesses go, we have a 12-month contract or whatever. I said, it lacks confidence in what you can do. We're supposed to be partners. Why you got to hold a piece of paper over my head? We're supposed to win together here. But people who want to win together don't hold contracts. I said, I have no intention of going anywhere. But if you have a contract over me, what's your motive to do everything you're saying you're going to do? I said, that
Yeah.
concerns me. And they said, well, Matt, here's the reason why. Based on our economics of how we do business, we need these deals to last a certain amount of time, or we're going to be in the red. We start to break even at this point. And I went, oh, well, you just put your cards on the table and shared with me why that matters with you. I get it. That makes sense. We're partners. Wipe my complaint off the table. I'm no longer concerned about that contract. If we're going to continue to go forward, I understand your need for a 12-month commitment. No problem. And they're like, are you sure? They thought I was being a little sarcastic
Yeah.
because I can be. And,
Right.
and
Right.
I said, no, absolutely not. I'm telling you, I want to be partners together. Even though I'm paying you, you're providing me a service I value. You told me something that matters to you. That's what a partner does. And I understand it. It makes sense. Now I'm not now using that as a negotiating tool to say, well, I gave up the contract. You need to give me this. I go, that's not how partners work either. So anyway, that's what I believe in business.
I don't want to comment to this because we'd be here another hour, but wouldn't it be great if governments worked by trying to find people to win with? We'll end it there.
I have nothing to say, or it'll just all unleash.
Matt, have a great day. And,
You
and as
too.
always, this was awesome.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Bye.